forward beyond the email that I sent to you last Friday. I forgot if I mentioned to you or not whether the jail site fund bill has now been signed into law, so it's done. About everything that we looked at during the session has completed the process, either by getting defeated or passed in law. And as y'all know, there's nothing much going on in the legislature this week other than them trying to get the state budget adopted. So, subject to y'all's questions, I'm just glad the legislative session is going to be over with a week from today. Hopefully.
Thank you, Mr. Kress.
This is my report for the day.
Good, thank you. Communication reports, Mr. Spears.
Just a letter from Chair District Number 2 that advising Ronnie Davis has left the board and Mr. Gerald Fussell is being recommended for that spot.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry. Mr. Jefferson has a question to the administration.
Charles, you and I had spoken, I think, after the last meeting relative to a chiller problem at the jail. Well, you prepared to give a report about that. You know, I asked you, I told you I thought you should bring it to the body.
Yes, sir. There are 3 chillers at CCC. There was one that was replaced in the spring of 2009. This is the only chiller that's tied to emergency power. The chiller operated fine during the summer, but in January it froze, literally froze in the cold weather. And we have, and it's not functioned since then. We've tried to negotiate. We've tried to get the contractor that installed it and their insurance company to replace this chiller because it froze due to defective installation. The fact that some heating elements to the machine were not connected to electricity, but to no avail. And so we are in the final stage of preparing a lawsuit about it. In the meantime, the chiller is going to have to get replaced, and the parish is going to end up, unless it can get settled. And I'm surprised that it hadn't been settled before now, because to me the liability is pretty straightforward, but we just can't get the parties to agree on who's going to pay what. So we're preparing a lawsuit to be filed to get the money back that the parish is going to have to spend, because we need to get that chiller replaced out there, because it's the only chiller that's tied to emergency power. So it's an issue, and in the meantime we've identified some temporary trailer-mounted capacity that we can use as the need arises.
That we actually have in place now.
And we have it in place. We put it in place last week when the storm came through here that knocked out power temporarily. And this was Mr. Wilson, not me. I'm not sure why I'm explaining it, but the bottom line was that experience taught us that we just didn't need to take any chances of having an interruption of cooling capacity or air exchange capacity at CCC. So we now have a backup system out there that will ensure uninterrupted operation. But in the meantime, we're going to have to initiate this litigation and pay for the cost unless they come forward and reinstalling installing another chiller.
Did we put the temporary, we put that in-house? We had to pay someone?
We paid a contractor to do it, to put it in.
The equipment came over from Dallas.
Yes, sir. It's about $11,000 a month for a rental unit. And we are going to try to seek remedy to get that money back within the process of this litigation work that Mr. Webb's talking to you about, because the power did go out last Friday, and they were out for several hours over there. And you know, you got a total concrete building with no windows and no external air coming in. You have to have it cooled. So it's not an option for us, but we don't want to create a situation that could aggravate the situation over there by it being this overly hot in that building. So we had to have the capability. We have proof to identify it in case of something happened. We'll go forward and execute that plan. And that's what we did last Friday, Thursday night, and we got it on Friday morning.
Local contractor, who's the contractor?
There wasn't any local sources on that equipment. It came out of Dallas.
No, not the rental. I'm talking about the initial installation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Local contract. Yes, sir. Mr. Thermotech.
Who?
Thermotech.
Thermotech?
Yes, sir.
The funds for operating the temporary facility is, that's coming out of our normal operating
sir,
jail
that's correct.
fund?
Yes,
So
sir.
nothing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Lynch.
One, I wanted to recognize Mr. Michael Jackson. Mr. Jackson, you have to sit up front. He is the new regional manager for U.S. Senator Larry Landrieu, and visiting with us today. He's been here a couple of months now. I guess been the regional manager for a couple of months now, so welcome. The other thing I appreciate, President, you allowing me, extending me the opportunity to make this presentation to the Animal Services Department. We received another NACO Achievement Award for our Progressive Community-Based Animal Adoption Program, which is the pet adoption program that started at the Louisiana State Fair. One thing was clear, I guess last year we won those 2 awards, there were about 800 applicants from across the country, so it's a pretty stiff competition to get these awards, and this is our third. And Mr. Harris, we're not going to fly Matt Pepper to Reno, so you don't have to worry about it.
Hey, can I go too? That's my idea too.
But, yes, and Mr. Cox, but certainly we as soon as we got back from NACO last year, I was like, this is the program that we're going to submit for next year. So, Mr. Harris, thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson.
Yes, a couple of things. First, our committee met, I always forget the name of my committee, Capital Projects Committee, met just a short time ago at 2 o'clock, and we received a report for the Caddo Correctional Center capacity study by Grace and Abel, and it was an interesting study. I'm sure most of you have seen the bottom line, which does indicate that there are some serious considerations about $99 million worth for the jail. But at any rate, we did receive the study, and it's still under discussion, perhaps. Then we had a staff briefing that involved the performance contract for Caddo Correctional Center in regards to serving us some money. And so we received both of those in the meeting, and we will be receiving additional information before we vote as a committee and then subsequently bring it back to the full body. The other thing is I was absent, but I wasn't just vacationing for that week. It was a county leadership conference. Everybody always had a chance to go. I mean, it's intense for a week. I mean, from 8 to 5, they don't let you out of the building. They bring lunch to you, and you sit there and you eat and listen and discuss and all. And one thing I wanted to share, and it's the definition for leadership, but I said definition for leadership, but we talked a lot about leadership and what it was and what it wasn't. And this, kind of stuck with me. Leadership is about disappointing your own people at a rate they can absorb. That goes a long way, but it's an awful lot to that, and it was really interesting. They sent for me, and the State Police Bureau Association took care of all my expenses in regards to travel. So, but I did enjoy it. It was quite interesting, and it gave you kind of a new outlook on leadership and what it means, and how to go about being a better. They never used the word leader. It was always leadership in terms of qualities and attributes, that kind of thing, not a person. But anyway, we'll talk about it sometime. But I just want to let you know I wasn't just playing around. Thank you.
You, Commissioner Pearson. All right, citizens' comments. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the body at this time? If not, we'll move on to new business.
Yes, sir, you have a zoning case for introduction. Zoning case P6, ordinance 998, Lauderdale Properties applicant to use B1E buffer for their pediatric therapy clinic. Now, you'll hear this on your July 8th meeting. We're fast tracking that one simply because you won't be having the second meeting in July. Next, that's okay, need a motion to introduce.
Yes.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Lynch. Seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau. Any discussion on this motion?
I'm asleep.
Not, please vote. What passes? Next item,
Ordinance
please.
4999 provides $5,000 for the Air Service Task Force study.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Lynch, seconded by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion on this motion? Commissioner Lynch?
Say, I guess if you've been watching the news or reading the newspaper over the last couple of days in regards to some of the activities that have happened at the airport, the task force is still in place. It's still a regional task force, one in which all of the government entities that are involved and represented have continued their commitment to funding this study. That has not changed, even though the executive director of the airport is no longer there. I was talking with the president before the meeting started, and I would still like this body's support to appropriate the money, but before it's expensed, that you will make sure that the president is aware, Mr. Wilson. I don't expect this, it's probably not going to be as immediate as we originally intended it to be, but at some point, we will be moving forward with the study. So I'd appreciate us continuing to support this effort.
Any other discussion on the motion? Commissioner Thibodeau.
I was reading about it, and maybe you can tell if I read this wrong, but did I read where the airport board is not giving any money to the task force?
I think from what I understand in the newspaper, they said at their May meeting, they voted not to put money in at that time. But this is also a board that has what I guess would call month-to-month members. Quite a few with expired terms. One of the statements in the paper is that, we didn't want to support it because we've done all we can do as a board, which I find to be quite interesting considering the fares have done nothing but gone up over the years, and we have people saying that they've done all that they can do. I'm not sure if they've done all that they can do, if the problem has not been resolved. So some of those statements did concern me, but I suspect at the next meeting of the task force, some of those concerns will be addressed, and I suspect that will be resolved favorably.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other discussion? Not, please vote. Passes. Next item, please.
Yes, sir. I see that we've hit the 5,000 mark on our ordinances.
Oh, wow.
The 5,000 sales adjudicated property.
So moved.
Second.
By Commissioner Pearson, seconded by Commissioner Baker. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, let's vote, please. That passes. All right. Moving on.
Consent agenda is next.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
But the reminder that you convene at 3 o'clock on.
That's right, 3 o'clock Thursday.
Who's adjourned?
We're adjourned.
Mute the mic, who is good? Mute the mic.